Good evening, Egg. There. Good evening, Egg. There. Can't say it. It's Egg, not Ed.
So that's the intro.
Hello and welcome back to the Villa View for episode 3 of the phoning. Usually it's Dan doing the phoning, but for today it's me. Must warn, there is a few technical issues along the way, but there's some cracking points that have been made this evening, so stay tuned. First caller of the evening is Adam. What is it that you want to discuss with us tonight?
Good evening. I just wanted to discuss really the importance of being behind Bruce and the new players between now and the end of the season. I mean, I understand everyone's entitled to their opinion and everything, but just seeing around social media and a few fans being disgruntled and, you know, don't get me wrong, I was unhappy as anybody about the last two performances, but I just don't think now is the time to start to get on Bruce's back and the rest of the players. And actually, I don't think that's helping one bit either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I see where you're coming from. I back this as well. I agree that I think it's rather silly to suggest that Bruce should be sacked at this point. I think that we need stability at this club. It's something that we've been crying out for. And for me, Bruce's foresight is the fact that going into next season, we've got a brilliant squad, to me. And he needs a summer, would you say, perhaps, to actually get this squad in the shape in terms of fitness that he wants them to be?
Yeah, definitely. I think the rest of this season now is just about building momentum and just hopefully churning out a few positive results. Not just results, but good performances as well, which then build the momentum for next season and lay the foundations. But essentially, if we were to sack Bruce now, I don't see the point. You know, who would we be looking at? You know, if we were to sack him and say, right, who do we want in? Who's got that perfect CV of championship experience? You know, that record of bringing teams up. It's him. You know, and I was afraid. You know, when we first appointed Bruce, whilst I was really pleased, I always thought in the back of my mind we're always just a little bad run of form from him turning into the hero, turning very quickly into the blue nose, you know what. I think people have very short memories of how bad we were last season. We were on our knees, let's face it. Aston Villa Football Club was on its knees, and that just doesn't get turned round just in one season. It just doesn't happen.
I agree, Adam. I think that's the main point that I think is the fact that we need to back this guy. I think that he's been given the funds to do it. I think he needs the time and the stability and the support to do it. And I think that's a very good point you've raised tonight, Adam.
Cheers, Matt.
Cheers for coming on. So what you want to discuss tonight?
I want to talk about Jack Grealish. I mean, Saturday kind of like proved like his Villa career so far. There was the assist for Codger, and then there was his unnecessary, ridiculous red card. And it's getting to a point with Grealish now where do we keep him and hope he become good, or do we discard him? Because you can't rely. I don't think you can rely on someone like that to get out of the Championship, which, as we know from this season, it's an incredibly tough league.
I hear what you're saying here. Yes, he's been blowing hot and cold this season, but I do think we can rely on him. I think he just needs the arm around the shoulder approach that perhaps this season he's lacked up until Bruce has come in, and perhaps there's still some stupidity there, but he's still young. I think people have compared him to Lee Hendry in recent weeks, where you can draw a lot of comparisons with, but I can see him still progressing quite well with Villa.
I think like the Lee Hendry comparison is actually quite valid in the fact that he obviously has a lot of talent, but he never seems to make that key difference as much as he should. And then occasionally, like Grealish has done this season, like the goal against Wigan in the last minute, he proves that he can make that difference, but just not consistent enough. But I think that we've sold ourselves short a bit with only having about two or three options really on the wing apart from Grealish. We've seen it with Grealish. I mean, the FA Cup semi-final against Liverpool, his goal last season against Leicester, goal this season against Wigan. We know he's got the talent. It's just so frustrating to see him blow hot and cold. And then just like that tackle, it wasn't necessary. And I know Lehigh made the most of it, but it was an experienced player in that situation wouldn't have gone in for that tackle. And it's just really frustrating to see. He's got to play consistently well for over, I don't know, to the end of the season at least, and then look again in the summer and look. Because he has got that talent, but he just needs to cut out the stupid errors.
He does, yeah. The stupid errors must have been great on me hugely, but there's something for me there, and I think that it will come. I've said that, and I'm going to defend him and say that he's got the ability. I'm not going to defend his actions with the tackle because it was stupidity and petulant, but I think in general the talent's there. We've just got to utilise it and prove that he can do it, because he's got it. We've got to throw some confidence behind the guy as well. He's young, so he can learn, and it'd be interesting to see in the comment section what you think. Are you on Ed's side that it could be time to let go, or do you think he can still do it? Let us know in the comment section that. Cheers, Ed, for joining us today.
Cheers, Matt.
James Clark's joining me now on the line. What is it you got to say?
Well, basically, I'm just saying the way the season's panned out this season, it's just, I can't help but think it would be a disaster if we got promoted this season. For the future of the club, for the prosperity of Tony's ears, obviously 5-year plan. It just wouldn't look good for the club, especially given the outlay, not just over one transfer window, but over 2 transfer windows. I mean, we've put down a lot of money, and that's not just on transfer fees. That's contracts, bonuses. I can't imagine. I imagine there's going to be a lot of promotion bonuses in with the likes of Scott Hogan's and Jedinak's contract as well. If we went up this season, I think it'd be disaster.
Yeah, there's always been the argument to me that it's a 2-year plan to get out of this league, and it's something that Dr. Tony originally touched on, the fact it could be a 2-year plan, and I can see where this is coming from totally, because the more I've looked into it, I know I said a few months ago about that it's still possible we can make the playoffs. For me now, I think it's the right thing not to go up, because as you say, all the finance behind it, but just in general, in terms of confidence, perhaps it's too soon, given what happened last season. I think some have got a short-term memory to the fact of how bad last season was for so many reasons, and perhaps a year of confidence-filled football could be key to more momentum long-term.
What we do with this season and next season is stay competitive, change the culture of the club, and make sure that Aston Villa isn't just papering over the cracks. It takes a lot to change the club structure into what is essentially a Premier League club.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's the case all around. I think 2-year plan is better than a 1-year plan in terms of the one thing people forget is we're still running on a financial budget that was put in place by Steve Hollis in terms of firefighting and cutting budgets and cutting everything else. I'm sure that will change when the new financial year comes in, and that's when you can look at where we're going in the next year or so. I think for now it's the case of sustainability and then pushing on from there. Cheers, James, for tonight.
Oh, no worries, mate. Thank you very much for having me on.
So our fourth caller of the night is Chris. So what is you want to discuss tonight?
Well, basically, I'm probably like a lot of Villa fans that are kind of scraping around for some remnants of a positive for this season. And I think that what I'm sort of having to accept myself now is that we probably realistically weren't going to go up this year, and we're not good enough to go up. In all honesty, sort of on reflection, I feel like we just absolutely wasted a summer. Wrong managerial appointment as it's turned out, bad signings, not sort of all together behind the scenes. And I think I've just kind of had to accept now that January, in a sense for us, was what the summer should have been. We've got in the right players now. There is the base of a good squad there, but we're almost at pre-season stage. We don't know the best team. We don't know our best formation. The manager's only just working with the players. And I just feel like as supporters, we've just maybe got to let go for this season. And it's hard to say when you never want to see your team not win. But realistically, we all kind of, laughed at Ian Holloway when he said we come 16th, but 20-odd games in, where are we in the league?
Yeah, I agree, Chris. We discussed it a bit earlier on, I'm sure you'll see later. But the general point has been that the fact that our summer is a write-off for every reason possible, bar the change of ownership. The January window was what the summer window should have been, And since then, it's sort of not gone great so far. But going into the summer, I think we've got a squad that's really capable. And it's just the case of Bruce moulding that to something that he wants. In terms of tactically, at the moment, he's throwing things at a wall and it's not sticking. And in terms of fitness-wise, so I think the summer we'll have a squad ready. So we won't need to see many changes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like what I don't want to see is that tide turn against Bruce if it does take a few weeks. I feel like we have to be patient. I mean, the way I look at it now, if by some miracle we went up this season, how many changes will we have to make in the summer to build a squad that was ready for the Premier League? Because at the minute, those players have only been together a matter of weeks. Now, I do believe going forward in the future, that could be a squad in 18 months' time that could do something in the Premier League. There are players there with potential to step up, but a lot of those players now wouldn't be able to. Green, you look at Adoma, Hogan's only just started working with Codger. Maybe in 18 months, when they've been playing together for that period of time, we could go up, but we'd need 6-7 players again in the summer if we were to go up, and that would just cause disruption again. So I just feel like this could be a blessing in disguise long term, provided we can kind of stick to that as supporters.
Totally agree. So I think you've made a very valid point there that this squad could be good enough. This time, 12 months' time, they'll be very well gelled together. They'll know each other inside out. They'll know the strengths and weaknesses. And in general, the partnerships will be there. The types such as Lansbury, Hourihane in midfield and Codger and Hogan up front. And I think that in general, it is the blessing in disguise. And perhaps the summer will be like our January window should have been, in the sense that it'll be fairly quiet and just a few tinkering, a few just issues in terms of just issuing fitness and tactical. Cheers for your call again, Chris.
No problem.
So I'm joined by Jordan now for our fifth caller of the evening. How are you doing and what's the point you want to make?
Yeah, not doing too bad now, lads. Not doing too bad. The main point is I'm hearing a lot of people sort of critiquing the Bruce Out Brigade. They've had a hard time recently. They've been accused of being short-sighted, reactive. And to be honest, I would give Bruce to the end of the season at least. But I just want to make a few points with regards to the fact that the Bruce Out Brigade are making a legitimate argument that needs to be heard. We've got shades of Paul Lambert being in his final season here. We've got randomly changing formations. He's throwing mud at the wall and seeing if it'll stick. He seems to be devoid of ideas. And where is the structure and where is the plan going forward? I totally get that the club needs time. I totally get that, given the mess that was last season, the chaos that was last season, it will take time to rebuild and we need to be patient. But the facts are, we've got 2 points from 6. We're bottom of the form table and we're further away from the playoffs now than we were when Di Matteo left. So even before we spent the money we have in January, this is unacceptable where we are right now. We're the league's biggest spenders and we should not be teetered on a relegation battle in between the playoffs and the relegation places. If teams like Huddersfield can go on a shoestring budget, go on the run they have and be in the position they're in, we've really got no excuse. What it does demonstrate is that it's having an organised and clear plan that's important, not necessarily having the most money. Now, again, I get the view that the players need time to settle in. However, this isn't the case like last season, where we've had purchases from abroad. It takes them time to get used to a new league. That's not the case. A matter of weeks ago, these players were dominating the league. They're the different teams' highest performers. Now, if we look at the team that started against Nottingham Forest, it was only Jack Grealish from last season that's there. It's a completely new team. And really, there is no excuse that we're dealing with a hangover from last season. I mean, I'll ask you, Matt, is there one area of our game where we've improved since Bruce has taken over?
I buy your points entirely of what you're making about Bruce. I think that I agree with it totally, in the sense that he's throwing mud at wall and it's not sticking. I think that he's trying different systems and it's not working. But I think he needs the summer period because, caller touched on it previously, our summer window is a write-off. Well, forget that happened. The January window is how the summer window should have gone in terms of what we did. And I think that's the case now, is the case at this point is our pre-season, if we're looking at this realistically in terms of the changes we made. And it always would have been the case that it would have been, let's go again next season, because of the divine weaknesses that we've got in that squad, the one we did have in midfield, for example. Those have been sort of rectified and addressed as such. So now it's the case of just building around that and going again next season. And I think Bruce is still the right man, but I think his tactics have got to be put into question right now. I think they've been atrocious.
I would like to agree with you, man, and you do make some good points. What concerns me, however, is if we look at Bruce's history, if we look at his teams in the past, you'll be familiar with the teams at Birmingham, at Sunderland. These were tough games that we had. We didn't look forward to facing Bruce teams. They worked hard, they were hard-working, they were industrious, they were physical teams. If you look at the team now and the signings we've made, is this really a Bruce team? That's what concerns me, is that the issue is not Bruce trying to settle in with the new players, the players trying to fit in. It's that this squad of players does not fit with Bruce's philosophy. And I just can't see us playing the football, the possession, our ability to dominate a game. I just can't see that happening under the Steve Bruce reign. I'd like it to happen, but I just can't see him changing his philosophy. The longer it takes for Steve Bruce to change his ways, or we wait for him to change his ways, there is a risk that Tony Shearer is going to get bored, potentially rightly so. And we could end up in a Randy Lerner situation where he's not willing to put more money in. He loses his enthusiasm. We've already seen him backtrack on his 5-year plan. I just feel concerned.
I buy the concerns. I understand them totally, but I think Tony's made it quite clear that he's behind it 100%, and I think he believes in stability. You've seen it from his tweets, and hopefully he's got the right man now. I think there will be stability in the summer. You have to question people like Calderwood, because this bad run of form has coincided with Colin Calderwood coming into the club.
Yeah.
Is that something we read into, or is it not? That's another interesting point being made tonight. Cheers for coming on, Jordan.
No worries. Thank you.
So, Aston, you're the final caller tonight. What is it you wanted to make the point about?
I just want to talk about the midfield three that Bruce has started to play in a 3-5-2, and also the goalkeeping situation, which is at the moment the talk of Villa. So the midfield three, I see that Mile Jedinak on Twitter, on Facebook, social media, gets a lot of abuse for being a poor passer of the ball, no legs. However, if you look at Jedinak's stats for the games he's played for the Villa haven't lost when Jedinak's played, which I think is a pretty impressive stat. He's not in the team to be a Iniesta type of player to have a 100% pass completion rate. He's in the side to pass the ball on to players next to him, to break up play and just give us that anchor in the midfield three. And I think with two players like Hourihane in Henry Lansbury, or Henri Lansbury as Dan Bardell calls him, he can give the ball to two attacking players that can create more. I don't know what your views are on that Jedinak with Hourihane Lansbury in front.
I agree with it. I think you're spot on there, because it is no coincidence. And for me, allowing Jedinak to sit gives you free rein for Lansbury to go and do what he can do when he pushes forwards. And obviously we know what Hourihane can do in that sense as well. I think if you have somebody like Gary Gardner, for example, in that sitting role, who is, let's face it, one of the only other options we've got there at the moment, it doesn't quite work the same, because Gary Gardner's got a different style of play to him, and he's used to playing in a two, in the sense of in a two with Lansbury when he was at Forest, for example. And I think Jedinak fits the bill for me, and I think he gets a lot of stick that he isn't deserved, because he hasn't got the best legs to have to do all the running. He hasn't got the best passing range, but I can't think of a better player in the Championship that I'd want to try and sit in front of the defence to break up play. Other than perhaps John Joe Shelby, I don't think there's many better at breaking up play than Mile Jedinak. Yeah,
I totally agree. And like, you look at John Joe Shelby, he's more of a box-to-box midfielder, gets forward, defends as well. And you say that the Jedinak Gardner's used to being in a two because he's more energetic. He gets around the pitch well, covers a lot of ground, where I think if you played him in a free and a discipline role, I think he may go astray, because I think natural instinct to go and press the ball quickly may lead him out of position. So I think Jedinak is bang on the money. And I don't understand why Villa fans think he should have legs. The bloke's like 32, 33. He's had a long, good career, still plays international football. So I think Villa fans need to be a little bit aware that he is sometimes going to be maybe a quarter of a yard, half a yard off the pace. And I think he does need to be given a bit of leeway and less stick, just because he's a little bit older, and it should be expected him not to be able to get around as much as someone like Gardner, or what Westwood used to be like to get around the pitch a lot, and obviously like Tishabola as well.
What was the point about goalkeepers you wanted to raise?
Dan Bardell kind of covered it. He nicked my point. So I stood with Dan at the Brentford game, and I said to him, I wonder what Johnston's shot to save goal ratio is. I can't see it being very high, apart from the Spurs game. Everything else that's been hit at him has more or less gone in. So he decides on your video on Monday or Tuesday night to cover it and do it, which was a little bit sneaky. But the point is, I didn't understand signing a keeper that was the same age or a year older than Galini, because Bruce banged on that he wanted a experienced goalkeeper. So he goes for a 23, 24-year-old who has played a season in the Championship. And to me, in a team that needs confidence from the back, because we've gone through 3 goalkeepers this year, 4 or 5 in the past 12 months. And it's true what they say in football. Your confidence starts from the back, and that starts from your goalkeeper. If you play in a back 3 or a back 4, and your goalkeeper's constantly changing, which it is at the moment, it's a revolving door, you've got no confidence because you don't know what the bloke's like. You don't know if he's coming. You don't know if he's going. You don't know if he's going to give you orders. You don't know if he's going to kick well. So I think that the goalkeeping issue passes on through the back 4, then into the midfield, then up to the strikers and all the way through the team. So I think Bruce definitely in the summer needs to go and sign a goalkeeper that's 28 plus, so in their prime and got a few good years left in them. And he needs maybe to go like the Alex McCarthy route, third choice at Palace, lots of games in the Championship, solid goalkeeper, or the Alex Smithies. I think we missed a trick on going for Alan McGregor. He's gone from high to high. And that, for Bruce, who obviously knows McGregor really well, it absolutely baffled me for him not to go and raid him because he clearly wanted out to go to Cardiff. And I'm not being downgrading the Cardiff City Football Club, but I think if any player's got a choice of Aston Villa or Cardiff City, I think there's only one destination you're definitely going to go to.
Another suggestion to add into the pool. Thank you again for coming on this evening, Aston, to discuss your points.
Not a problem. Thank you, Matt.
So the John Gregory video was out yesterday. If you have missed that, then please do go and watch that now. There's a link going to be dropping after this. And then please do as well like this video if you did enjoy it and comment your thoughts on the points that have been made tonight. We've had some cracking points made. So let us know in the comment section what you think about them. And remember to subscribe to The Villa View. That competition for the John Gregory signed shirt is still ongoing. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another one? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. And don't forget to subscribe. Click on our logo there on the left and press subscribe. Easy.